miss it.
Hello, hello. We are live for the final Tribal Council of Can You Survive charity event 2022. And I'm sorry, I just got distracted because someone chatted me in the earshot. So we are underway here. We're just going to give you guys some time to join us. Moments ago, the final three gave their introductory speeches to the jury. If you are curious as to how they initially have pled their cases, you'll have to join us and watch the episodes that will be released later this year or next year. Let's see, what else? I feel like I had things to tell y'all, but I'm forgetting. So we're just gonna go to all of the players now. We have the final three here, Kyle, Kelsey, and Jordan, all sitting directly across from the jury of their peers who now have all the power. They will each be asking questions and eventually voting for the winner. So as a reminder, we'll go. Let's see, y'all are sitting in order. Okay, this is great. Sorry. Okay, all right, so we have Alyssa, Michael, Declan, Sarah, Kyle, Bobby, Daniel, Nina, no, Bennett. Bennett did a little slide there, threw off my game. Bennett, Nina, and Sarah.
All right. You have had your chance to, make your initial speeches, your initial cases to the jury, and now they'll get a chance to grill you back. So we're going to start with Alyssa. You can ask your question.
So Kyle, I think you're the only one that, I was obviously on the original tribe with Kelsey and Jordan, so kind of had a really good chance and a lot of time to build with them. We were on the swap tribe, and we did have that one night, and we did win all the challenges together. But I was kind of wondering, you were one of the last. Gray seemed to lose their members a little faster first, so you were obviously one of the three Gray members left. Mm-hmm. You did talk about your game, but like I said, I didn't get a chance to strategize with you or anything. I just kind of wanted to hear what your game plan was as far as being one of the only three Gray members left of all of the Gray members, and how you were kind of gonna fight your way to the top three.
Sure. So my plan was I knew that I had Bennett and Sarah and Gray on the other side, and they were building connections with red. Mm-hmm. So while I was on the blue tribe, my goal was really to build the most solid connections I could with blue. So when we get to merge, there's options. Mm-hmm. I think this game is all about options, which is why I feel, I apologize if I lied to you for a personal reason, but if I lied to you for the game reason, that's because I was trying to keep my options open. I think once you shut down an option, it's not a thing. So I knew with their connections and the connections I had an open playing field. And I didn't necessarily need to be in control. I could let people who thought they wanted to control the votes. And I think what happened is those people got picked off one by one, and I can hear from all angles where the votes are going. So I knew at every single tribal council how the votes were going to fall.
Okay. Is that all for you, Alyssa? Yeah. Great. All right, well...
Can you talk speaker?
Sure. Definitely speak up, everyone. They're not able to hear you on the live stream. And I don't know if these microphones are picking it up at all, so we might not be able to hear you on the episodes either. But we'll go to Michael now for the second question. Either up to you, whatever you feel more comfortable.
Hi everyone. It's been a while. It's been like 2 days, but it feels like a lot longer. Kyle, we were on a tribe for a very little bit of time, and I heard you speak more just now than I had for the whole day we were together. I've heard that I went out early because I was blue. So I think it's only fitting that I'm going to give my vote to one of them. No offense to you. That feels fair to me. Kelsey, I really enjoyed playing with you. I think you have a solid game. I think we're going to hear a lot more about you from them, so I'm going to call on you for now. Jordan, I also heard I went out of the game because of you. In the sense that they thought you'd never turn on me. And I appreciate that so much. And I think you've gotten like a live villain edit through this while we're watching from the jury that is totally undeserved. A lot of people think that you played either messy or spaghetti, or I want to hear about, and they want to hear, was it strategic? Were you just flailing around and seeing what stuck? I like that you had to fight the whole time, that you didn't have an easy way. You had a fight and you still got there. I had a fight and I didn't. So I appreciate that. make sure you tell them the story so they know it was you doing this to get you here. Also, you are a very kind and optimistic person, and I can tell that about you. I don't think it's fake. I think sometimes it comes off a little fake. Be careful how you phrase things when you talk about them and talk about them. All right, good luck.
Thank you. Can I respond based on something that you said?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So one of the flailing piece, I've actually heard from a couple people, and I agree. I know exactly when I was flailing, and I made sure to change that immediately. I was trying to build trust with everybody when we had the black dot elimination. And my way to show trust is I told everyone, hey, I'm basically a free agent right now. Michael's the only person I'm not voting for. And I was telling strangers that because I was hoping people would be like, wow, this guy's really honest. That's cool. Let's maybe work with this guy, and Michael might be a plus one as well along that journey. That didn't work. I think although you were spared that vote, it did put a huge target on us, and that's where I realized, hey, this flailing technique did not work. Stop doing that. Every elimination after that, while I was on the bottom after merge, I did the same exact thing. Everybody went in groups. I didn't want to be intrusive. I just stood in the middle under a shady tree and waited for people to come up to me, which really sometimes took the last 30 seconds of tribal. At that point, I had conversations and relationships with people, and I would tell them, and they would come up to me and say, you're good. That was the first time. The second time, I would have more people come up to me and say, you're good. We want to work with you, just not yet. The third time, I would have people say, okay, in order to stay with us, we're going to tell you who we're voting for at Tribal Council. If I touch here, it's going to be option A. Touch here, option B. Touch here, option C. That was my idea, to have these nonverbal cues. That way it never looked like to gray that I was with red. For red, I was with gray. For blue, whether or not I was with you guys. So I did have this flailing technique, and it was a big mistake in the game. And I'm glad I was able to correct it and continue working my way out of the bottom, slowly but surely.
Michael, obviously you said you were going to potentially vote between the two of
Yep.
us. I would like a chance to also speak to that.
Yeah, sure.
And I feel like you actually are a huge differentiation in our game. I obviously voted for you twice. And the first vote I voted for you, that was the only time I was on the wrong side of the vote. When it was Alyssa, I did not know that it was going to be Alyssa. The second time, I voted for you. And I think that's a huge reason why maybe I had an easier road than Jordan at the beginning of the merge. People saw that Jordan wanted to try to keep you, wanted to try to make plans, being a little frantic, being a little hectic, versus I tried to play it calm, cool, collected. I went to Declan, I went to Kyle, I went to Bobby, I went to Bennett, and there were certain people that I said, I'll do whatever you want. You don't even have to tell me a name. I'll be your goat. I'll be your rat. I can be whatever you want me to be. Use me to your advantage. And I think that's why I potentially had a little bit of easier road and didn't get those votes early on in the merge, because people saw me as useful to their game. I knew I needed to tread water a little bit before I was able to swim.
Great. Thank you, Michael. We'll move on to you, Declan.
Hey guys, congratulations on playing great games. It's been so wonderful getting to know the three of you and everybody in the jury and everybody in the pre-jury is not okay. Everybody who is over there in the pre-jury. My question is, restraint is such an important quality in this game. Can you speak to a moment where maybe you had a move or even just a conversation or a challenge that you felt you could pull the trigger on and you held back that was ultimately for the best and got you to where you are right now?
So, who should
In any order.
Come on, if I start. Okay. So as just recapping, I changed from the blue tribe to the gray tribe, where there were 3 grays, 2. What was the numbers? It was 3 grays, 2 blues, and 2 reds. There we go. When I got over there, I got my first breath of new air and new life. I opened up my handkerchief and I found a clue that said what to do for the next challenge in order to get an idol. And I was like, I'm gonna make it through at least one more as long as I get my hands on this idol. I then sat everyone down in a circle and went over strengths and weaknesses, and Bennett shared that he really hates blindfolds, he makes him uncomfortable, and I wanted to support him as well. I saw him as a leader of the Greys that were on that tribe, and a lot of us were looking towards him as he's someone with a lot of experience in this game. So I really wanted to keep that idol true for myself. But to make sure he felt supported to be the caller, me and him went to the bathroom without even chatting. I slipped him the note. I knew that was my way. You know, Dean is a wonderful player, but he voted against my alliance from the first vote. So I was able to give trust to Bennett as much as I wanted that through myself to get this idol to make my own move. But I figured this is a great way for us to, I don't know if anyone else here even knew about this, for us two to have this relationship that would carry me as far as it did, and it got me, him, and our other two Greys to top 6. And that I felt like was a really big accomplishment.
Thank you. Kelsey?
I feel like, you know, obviously I came out of that, I won the immunity on the point day, whatever. So I purposefully did not want to restrain myself in that athletic ability. I wanted to show that I could be an asset to my tribe, because I think sometimes it's easy to assume that women are not going to be as much of a physical asset. So that is one instance that I did not restrain myself. An instance that, or several instances that I did, I feel like is with information. Information is the most important currency in this game. There were a couple instances where I knew things and I wanted to share them, but I knew that maybe it wasn't in my best interest to. So for instance, on our starting tribe, I knew that Dino right away coming into the game was Brandon's father. That's something that I easily could have shared with y'all to throw him under the bus. However, he was my black spot. And I thought it would look bad if I'm coming out playing too hard, too quick, throwing him under the bus. So instead, I went to Dino and I said, hey, like, I actually know your secret. Like, this can be something that bonds us instead of breaks us apart. And he was very appreciative of that. Another time is I knew Sarah knew Bobby right away. I easily could have tried to blow that up, but I did not. I waited till she had the confidence in me to tell me. And I said, okay, cool, great. So it was another instance that maybe if I would have shared that information with everybody else earlier on, that trust would have been broken between me and her if it got up with her.
Cool. Thank you, Kyle.
Yep. So I think when we first swapped tribes, I started to pull back on my challenge ability. I let other people take the lead, taking the spots they wanted so that they could be highlighted as threats. I was trying to downplay my ability a little bit. I think I was still seen as, you know, a challenge threat in some capacity. And I think when I first got to the merge, I felt like I had to win that first merge immunity after the black dot vote. And Bobby beat me by like a second on that one. And at that moment, I was like, what are you doing, Kyle? Take a step back. You don't need these immunities right now. Don't get yourself on the radar of other players. And so at that moment, I was like, I don't need these challenges right now. I feel like I'm in a decent enough spot that I don't want to put a target on my back. And so that was hard for me because the competitor in me really wanted to do well in every single challenge and give a good showing. So for me, it was tough, but I thought at the time it was appropriate for me not to win those immunities. And I think one other time I kind of talked about before, strong restraint is socializing. I didn't want to be seen as a social threat. I built a lot of one-on-one relationships rather than being very boisterous and vocal at camp because I didn't want that attention drawn onto myself. And that's really hard to do with such a fun group.
Thank you guys so much. Good luck.
Thanks, Declan. Sarah?
First, I just have a statement. But before I do, I just want to say congratulations. Because regardless of how you made it here, and that means you all deserve to be here. So my statement is contact. 1, 2, 3. Not blue.
Oh my god.
All right, Kyle?
So good.
You didn't say it loud enough. You didn't hear me? No, remember what? Oh, yeah. I'm like, I'm pretty sure you heard me. Yeah. I didn't want to scream it.
Kind of find it funny that the 3 people that held my fate at the tribal council when I went home made it to the final 3 because I was definitely winning this whole thing. Congrats on the 3 of you. You guys played awesome. Hell of a game. I'm proud of all of you. I'm going to hit you with like a Survivor Classic question. I kind of want to know from each of you why the 2 people next to you should win. Kyle, you start.
I think Jordan should win. I think everybody appreciates a good underdog story. He came into the merge and was instantly one of the targets that were up for elimination. and fought his way into some power positions as we moved forward. He never gave up. I think the relationships he built across tribes were very strong. And I think he was able to utilize and maneuver his way through the merge pretty well. Kelsey, we all love her. She's such a social player. I think her social bonds speak for themselves. I was on her tribe for like a day and I was like, I want to work with this girl. And I think she has an effect on everybody. And I think even though at some points in the game she wasn't necessarily at the top or in control of the game, she had good enough connections where she would be safe in this game. And I think that's a really big deal in Survivor, is building those one-on-one connections.
I know it wasn't in the question, but I'm not much of a rule follower, so I'm going to speak to you just for a sec. At the tribal that you went home, that was easily one of the, actually, I would say the hardest moment in the game for me. I had him in my ear saying he wanted Daniel out. I had him in my ear kind of saying he wanted to, wait, did I have that flip? I have that flopped.
You
Did I have
wanted
that flopped?
Dan.
You can't
No,
not
no, no.
follow the rules.
Just
anyway.
said.
You wanted him to stay. You wanted him to stay. Yes. Okay. There we go. So I was the swing in that, and that was really, really tough. And I know you know that. We got emotional together. So it was very hard having to make that decision because it did end up coming down to me. It doesn't mean that me and Kyle didn't absolutely talk back and forth for a very long time about it, trying to see which is the best path for us. Okay. But just want to let you know that I was end up being the swing in that, and I am so sorry that that had to happen for my path to be here.
No hard feelings.
Thank you. I think that Jordan deserves to win the game because he is an incredibly kind and charismatic individual. I think that's easy to see right off the bat. He's somebody that, even though he was close to Ame on our first tribe and she was everybody's target, I genuinely don't believe, and we left him out of that vote, I genuinely don't believe that he was going to be the next to go, because me and Daniel specifically had really good connections with him. So that speaks volumes, I think, to be left out of that first vote, but not going to be the next one to go. I think Kyle should win this game, because it's very impressive that he has never received a single vote. And he's just actually one of my favorite people here, so it's hard not to root for him. I could go on saying amazing things about both of them, but
okay.
One of the reasons that I'm so happy about this final three is because I would be so happy seeing both of them win.
Jordan.
Yeah. Kelsey is, I heard right off the bat in the first day, or maybe second day, that she is the type of person to win a game like this. She kicked ass in that first immunity challenge of racking up points. She mentally did her homework and was doing her research to figure everything out about all of us and giving that information to people when it was the best time to aid herself and others and build relationships. She continued to dominate in some of these immunity challenges, and I was just very proud to see how she did. And honestly, she got me to come back and join forces with her, where a lot of people, if they turned on me at one point or we weren't working together, then I was not going to go back and work with them. And Kelsey did leave me out of vote, and she convinced me to come back and be her number one, if not number two in this scenario. Kelsey is a force to be reckoned with, and it was an honor to play with her. Then we have Kyle, who I really believe is a secret assassin. I don't think a lot of people got to know Kyle the way I did. He approached me on day 2 at the swap and immediately said, I'm looking for number one and I want it to be you. I was able to take that the opposite of a grain of salt. I was able to take that with a grain of pepper because he just isn't out there throwing out names and doing all this tomfoolery. He was really just genuinely looking to make what he said was legit, and that's how I was able to work with him and trust him moving forward. And although he did carry a couple shields in the game to make sure that it wasn't going to be him if Gray ever did fall behind, he made it here, and the way that he's just explaining this process that he's kept even secret from me to all of you, I'm blown away, and I'm really impressed.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Good luck.
Thank you, Kyle. Bobby?
First off, congratulations. It's a fantastic place to be sitting there, so I'm very happy for all three of you, regardless of the outcome.
So earlier in this game, I mentioned threats when we're sitting at Tribal Council, that there are a million different types of threats in this game. You can't make it to the end without having some type of threat. What would you say is your type of threat as you came into this game, and how did you kind of maintain, subdue, or use that to get you to this point? Let's start with Chelsea.
So like I said, confidence was an issue for me after my first game. I didn't want to play a game until I rebuilt that up. With that being said, right before the game, I definitely started falling into that anxiety, that imposter syndrome, that maybe I was not going to be a threat in this game. Maybe I was not going to do well in this game. So I'm not sure if I necessarily thought I was. If I did, I thought I could be because I'm very athletic, fairly social. And I think oftentimes in Survivor, when a woman is very well rounded and seems like a strong player, they are unfairly targeted early on. So that's coming into the game. Can you remind me what the second part of your question was?
What type of threat are you?
Okay.
And how did you use, subdue, or maintain that to get yourself?
Okay, perfect. That's a lot of.
You don't have to say all three. It's just whatever one. Whatever
Yeah.
one.
I think I was a very silent threat in the sense of I wasn't getting targeted early merge, and I believe that was because people on top thought I could be useful to their game. I also think I knew when to strike. Jordan kept coming up to me saying, let's make a move, let's make a move. However, I wanted to wait until you all started that conversation with the Declan vote. And once that vote happened, I knew that it was like open season, like from there on out. And so I believe that I was a threat because sitting here last night, I never slept an ounce. I said I slept, but I did not. I was creating my pathway to the end, and it actually went pretty seamlessly perfect. And I'm sitting here in the end. And I think it speaks volumes that a lot of people, for Sarah, unless she was just lying, said that I was going to win this game. And my connections got me here. I didn't win my way here. My connections got me here.
Sure.
I would have to say overall, social threat. I really made a connection with every person on this tribe individually, I feel. Even the last two, Nina and you, we met so late in the game, our maps and plans were very different, but we still took time to have honest and genuine conversations that made it really, really hard to work against you. And when I was able to share information and I was able to avoid lying to you guys, that's what I did. And I really wanted to make sure that you guys felt respected in this game, because I'm still learning the balance between respect and lying and backstabbing, and just like what works well to be a well-rounded player. And then can you repeat the second?
I think we're good with the second, but that's good. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, I think I came into the game potentially as a physical threat. I think that people saw me doing a lot of challenges, and I knew that was something that was. I think I was actually a strategic threat. Behind the scenes, I was doing a lot of conversations, talking to people, getting them to feel good with me, so that down the line, I had a little bit of trust with them, so that if I need to make a move, I could. And I wanted to play up that physical threat, and I didn't want people to think I was very good mentally, which is why I tried not to do puzzles or anything like that, because I didn't want them to see that I was seeing this game as a chess game, and each player was a piece. And if I move this piece, where do I go next, and how can I navigate myself all the way to the end? And so, for me, I think I was a strategic threat that disguised himself as a physical threat.
All right, awesome. Thank you all. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bobby. Daniel?
Hey, Caitlin.
Hello. Congratulations, guys, on getting here. There's absolutely no hard feelings. I'm really proud of all three of you. I don't think there's such thing as a bad winner, so my vote is still up in the air, but I do believe in a better winner for the season. I want to preface my questions, because I have one for each of you, and I want you to keep it really quick, because I have personalised questions. But I want to preface my questions by saying if they come off a bit direct or something, or offensive, they're not meant to be. It's just how I talk and the language that I use. Okay. So Kyle, I want to start with you. So I lied coming into the game from the get-go about a few personal things. So I'm actually not a bartender that lives in BC. I'm from Sydney, and I'm a plant scientist who's about to finish his PhD. And that was to minimise my threat level. I want to know if you did you conceal or embellish anything to basically reduce your threat level, or did you just come in as yourself and then went from there?
I came in as myself. I thought coming in with some sort of lie about myself was going to be too hard to keep up. You know, I thought about if it was a younger cast, saying that I'm younger to maybe look younger. I didn't think that my career necessarily had anything to do with like, you know, threat level or anything like that. So I was like, I'm just going to be myself, and hopefully that's good enough. And I want to be able to say like, okay, like I can do this rather than this version of myself. And that was important for me.
Yeah, great, thank you. Jordan, my arch nemesis, my frenemy. I'm looking forward to having a beer with you this afternoon. My question for you is, well, first it starts with a statement. You are one of the kindest, most genuine people, like honestly, I've ever met. And however, in this game, it came off sometimes. Disingenuous is the wrong word. I had the right word in my head, but let's just roll with it. So, and in real life, it's an amazing quality to have. But when you're playing Survivor, we're constantly analysing people's games, which involves critiquing their games. So what I want you to do, with no sugarcoating whatsoever, is critique their games and tell me exactly where the weakest point is. It's not about why they don't deserve to win, but where is the weakest point in each of these people's games.
Yeah. Okay. So I think Kyle's path in this game was really, you know what, you said no sugarcoating.
Yep. Let's just go.
I think the way that I was really making personal connections, I think Kyle could have been more vocal about doing that rather than hiding behind people. That would have been probably maybe a flashier way of doing it, because yeah, I think that would have been a good way to project yourself a little bit more and make these connections for people on the jury to fall for you like I was able to really bond with you. Kelsey. The weakest part of your game. Okay. The weakest part of your game is you wore your heart on your sleeve a lot. There were a lot of tears in this game, and Kelsey produced most of them. And it's and I think that showing that vulnerable side may have been a weakness to some people.
And lastly, my love of my life, my ride or die. Love you to bits, but it doesn't mean that you're gonna get my vote easily tonight. Okay. When in this game did you strategize to get rid of Grey Kyle?
Never. I didn't want to get rid of Grey Kyle.
Do you think? I'm sorry to interrupt, but do you think that was a mistake?
No, I do not. And because, sorry, there's so many things I want to say, but I'll try to be direct.
Yeah, please do.
I do not believe I never did, and I do not believe it was a mistake in this game because we came together, and though it was very late, like we weren't on our G or SWAT tribe together, we readily told each other like that we were each other's number ones. And I wanted to finally, I feel like I had a couple in this game. At one point, it was definitely you until our oopsie daisy. At one point, it was Alyssa. At one point, it was Jordan. But it ended with Kyle. And I thought it was so important to keep people in this game that I knew wanted to come to the end with me, because I did not want my game to be banking on immunity idols or immunity challenge wins. And so I wanted to keep people in this game that were going to be willing to take me to the final tribal council if I did not win that final immunity.
Thank you all, and good luck.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Daniel. Bennett? Yeah.
Cool. This is here. Congrats, guys. We've been talking a lot of like solid game, and that will be what I base my decision on. But I just want to know one personal thing that you guys learned about yourself from this experience. Game aside.
Pick who to start.
Jordan, you start.
The one thing I learned about this game.
One thing you learned about yourself personally from this experience.
Oh, one thing I learned about this. Really just go too fast. That anytime that I saw my game starting to slip, it was because I was so excited about a plan I had or a relationship or a bond I was about to make that I was going to just go into it without thinking about all the consequences because I was just so excited to get something done. Sarah taught me something in this game, which is going to sound so cheesy, but like anytime we were all panicking before a challenge, we would do like a deep breath strategy. And that was something that I was utilizing throughout the second half of the game where I was able to perform even better that really impressed myself. I won an immunity challenge that lasted over an hour of endurance, where I was balancing on one foot against Dano, balancing on one foot, holding bars straight across, leg extended, and the only reason why I was able to get through that is because all the thoughts in my mind that usually are always going as someone with like ADHD, is that I was able to remember those deep breaths, and that I don't always have to be the camp counselor of the group or the RA that's super excited to take everything by storm. I also need to slow down, think about what I'm doing and what I say before it happens.
I think in life, one of my biggest goals or purpose is just to love people hard, love people unconditionally, whether I'm super close to them or not super close to them, whether I like them a lot or whether I dislike them a lot, whether they're a prevalent person in my life or the person taking my order at McDonald's, which you all know I frequent. And I think I learned in this game that sometimes it's okay to put yourself first. I had to put myself first, first before Daniel in this game, first before Bobby in this game, first before Nina and Sarah in this game, and that was incredibly hard to do, but I had to allow myself to do it and say that it was okay, because if I wouldn't have, I wouldn't be sitting here. And at the end of the day, I know some people come for the experience, but to be completely honest, I came to win, and I had to do it in order to win.
Yeah, I think that I learned that I have a lot more confidence than I thought. I think I'm a softer spoken guy, and when I walk into large groups and there's people who are very, outgoing and gregarious, I want to be like them, but I just don't have that, and it makes me uncomfortable sometimes because I'm like, why can't I get to their level? And it just, through this experience, to prove myself, you don't need to be that to actually be successful in this game or in life. You can be who you are and still find ways to maneuver within the realm of the world that you're a part of. So for me, it was a boost in confidence, because I think that was my biggest fear walking in here, is like, I'm not going to be a character, people aren't going to want to work with me, I'm just, more low-key of a guy. And so I think through this experience, I've been like, it's okay to be a little bit more reserved and a little bit more shy. That's just who I am, and, take it or leave it.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, Bennett. Nina?
Thank you for the floor, Jeff.
Still Cameron.
First of all, I just want to say, Jordan, that moment that we had before the tribal council that I was voted out, that meant a lot to me, and that hug we shared was like what I felt like I needed this entire experience, and I just it was just really important, and I appreciated that a lot.
I really enjoyed that too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question for everyone, same question. What was, and you please keep it short, just like one singular thing that you think was the best move that you did? Let's start with Cal. I feel like you have this.
I think the one singular move that I did was either knocking out this tile or getting Bennett to play his idol, knowing he needed to play in order for us to get ready for the next tribal, because that would have changed the trajectory of the game. So I think both of those moves were key, and I made the decision on both of those. I think she said that she made the decision. She was very strong with Dan. He was very strong with Kyle. I think Jordan can, confess to that.
One move that you feel like was the most important?
Yeah, like your biggest one.
Biggest.
Most important.
I kind of disagree with that statement, but that's fine. So I won't speak to that. I'll speak to betraying Bobby. That was the hardest, but I also feel like the most important move. I don't really know if anybody knows, but I know Bobby really, really well in my personal life. It would have been really easy for me to choose his side and go with Bobby and Nina rather than going with Sarah and Bennett, because that was hard. I just met you. So I decided to go with you all, who I just met a couple hours before, rather somebody who I've known for over a year now and have a close personal relationship with. But I knew I had to let Bobby go in order for me to really flourish in this game, and that was incredibly hard because I consider him my friend, and that's not nice to do that to your friend, but I think I had to do it, and I think it was one of the most important moves that I made.
Do you mind repeating the question one more time?
One, like your biggest one.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
that wasn't a question.
Right.
Your biggest one.
I took a lot of ones out here. So I would say, to go back to that immunity win, the reason why I wanted it so badly for an hour, that was the vote where I went from bottom to the top of the pack in secrecy. And I believe that's actually the reason why the three of us ended up linking up together. The way that Dan arranged the teams, I saw that if I was able to show these two that they could trust each other, that we would be able to join up with whoever was on the other side, and we had open options. The whole idol move that I said with Bennett earlier, which I am very proud of as well, that really solidified my relationship with those two. So we already had 3 and 2, which was going to be 5 going into 8. And I went from number 13 and number 12 and number 11 during those 3. And I was able to now take the majority, and I felt very strong and confident, and I did my best to make sure that they felt strong and confident with each other as well. So utilizing my social game to make sure that we were able to have this final 3 at the end, and just support each other throughout.
All right, thanks, Tina. Sarah, you're up.
And we do not get a closing statement.
All right.
This is gonna be a
So
long one.
congratulations to the 3 of you. I am very proud of you all. So I have one question that's just going to go to all 3 of you. I want you to compare yourself in this game to an animal. I'll give you a second to think. And you know what? Let's have Kelsey go first.
Okay. Be completely honest with you, and I hope you don't see this as disrespectful, but this is the last time I get to talk, and I do not want to talk about what kind of animal that I feel like my game is a part of, and I'm very sorry for not having the time to answer, but since we did not get a closing statement, I'm going to choose to talk about things that I've not gotten to speak about. I think one important vote in this game was the Daniel vote. There was people really wanting it to be Jordan as well. I had Nina look at me and ask me during tribal council who to vote for. I had you look at me at that tribal council and ask
So
me
I
who to
understand
vote
what you're
for.
saying, and I get that, but I did ask you a question, and yeah, it is a little bit disrespectful to a jury member to not answer my question. So I would really
completely
appreciate it if you
agree.
could answer my question. And if you don't want to answer my question, I'll move on to one of the other 2.
That's fair. All right. Let's just say I think I played this game like a cat. Sometimes I think I was very cuddly and cozy, and sometimes I think that I could scratch people, maybe if they didn't even notice that. And I think that was evident in ways where sometimes I chose to be malleable to other people's plans, and sometimes I stuck to my own because I knew that this was my best path forward. Daniel was hell-bent on if I voted him out, I would not make it here, and I did. The last thing that I would really just love to be able to talk about is please, in your mind, think about if you feel hurt by me, because I do know that I hurt some of you. Why is that? I know typically people tend to feel more emotional connections with women and therefore feel more hurt by women when they vote them out. And think about how you view people as threats. I think a lot of people, times men are more viewed as threats in this game, and I do not think that's fair. I think women have to fight tooth and nail to get here and to win. And just think about that perception and how you view the 3 of us.
All right, Jordan?
I'm gonna say golden retriever. I like to play. We played tons of stick, golf, frisbee, whatever we called it, whenever we had downtime. In my first confessional, they said, what are you gonna, what's your strategy gonna be? And I said, I'm gonna avoid being camp counselor Jordan, RA Jordan, OL Jordan, whatever it is, my whole life. And I had to throw that away because I thought that was what bonded us most. After we were winning those non-stop challenges, if you were on my team before merge, we would come back and we'd play games and we would just have so much fun. And this game is more than just about strategy. It's about fun and building relationships. And then honestly, when you're sad and you just need like a good cry or just need to be down, I was there with a bunch of you when we were all down, and Kelsey included. And I knew that I needed to utilize my empathy. I have tons of experience with crisis management as a resident director, dealing with really tough scenarios, and I felt like I knew, especially when people were down, how to support them. Kind of like when a golden retriever jumps on your bed and just wraps around you for some good cuddles. And honestly, I wanted to have fun, and I really did. Just like a good old golden.
All right, awesome. Kyle.
I'm gonna say a beaver. I think at the surface I was very, cute, kind, people couldn't think I was very threatening. Under the surface I was gathering my sticks to build the dam that would prevent me from getting voted out of this game. So one at a time I was grabbing my allies, I was grabbing Jordan, Bennett, Dan, Kelsey. I was grabbing each and every one of you in some capacity with a little bit of trust so that down the line that dam didn't open and I wasn't the one voted out. And so I would say I was like a beaver.
All right, awesome. Well, good luck.
Thank you, Sarah. All right, and with that, the jury should have all the information they need to make their decision. So we will get to the vote. We'll start Alyssa on. And so Alyssa, if you follow Brandon down the line, start voting. Does anyone have the ability to get the music going?
All right, so we are gonna file out of the final tribal council area and go talk about everything we just heard. And we have a special guest that will be joining us for this very last discussion. It is Albie, the winner of Can You Survive Season 2021. These are his last moments wearing the crown before he gives it away to one of these 3 FTC people. So we're gonna get all of his thoughts on that. All right, we're just gonna come over and I think we'll grab 2 chairs and have a little chat.
Do you mind if I take this?
All right.
It won't be long.
Yeah. Originally I set up that chair over there. I was like, this is gonna be my spot to chat. All right.
That was very, very exciting.
That was a very exciting FTC. A lot of incredibly eloquent, emotionally intelligent statements, and also kind of one gaffe from each player, I would say as well. So we will see what comes, but let's see, where do we want to begin with this?
I think going into it, I felt a certain way, and I feel like somebody could win here just based on that performance and how they explain their game.
100%.
So I kind of see Kelsey is a super social player, and I'm surprised she, with her question, she didn't talk about that more. I think she might lose some votes just based on not answering certain questions. There were 2 times during that performance that she didn't answer Kyle's question and she didn't answer Sarah's question at the end. So I don't know if that's gonna hurt her.
Yeah, speaking to what you said about how the winner could literally be decided here based on what they said at Tribal Council, I thought it was so fun that, at least from a production standpoint, so much of what happened and the way that they got here, I was not talking about on the live stream. So for me, it's always, and for I think most Survivor players, it's always so fun to finally get the real truth, the boots on the ground, firsthand account of exactly what happened. And so for me, with Kyle, it was super cool to hear him, talk about his strategy. Throughout the day today, he really stepped his game up in a noticeable way, strategy-wise, but it was really cool to have him unveil that, each individual, vote out of that jury, here's why this made sense for my game. Here's why I was okay with this and didn't even need to, lead the charge on this certain tribal council, like in the instance of Declan. And so it was really cool to, it's one thing to say oh, I was strategizing, I promise I was pulling the strings, I swear it. It's another to kind of get that laid out for us so that we're able to fully understand. So that was a really fun thing for Kyle. With Jordan, it was really cool to kind of hear about this secret final 2 that he had. Also kind of cool to see that the standing next to a tree strategy actually paid off.
Jordan had a hard game. He was standing in the field a lot and there weren't many groups that wanted to work with him. And he, in that performance, he was self-aware of the type of game he played. He didn't go in and say, I made the shots, I called the shots. He was dealt cards and he ended up in the end And I think his personality and his social bonds are the reason he's there. And I know there was a question about, Dan said to him maybe it was disingenuous. I know Jordan personally. I know that's who he is. He's just that type of person. And he struggled to even say negative things about Kelsey and Kyle. So I think Jordan did a phenomenal job in that final tribal.
Absolutely. I was completely blown away by Jordan's performance. I saw some, players be a little bit impressed with some of the jury members be a little bit impressed as he was answering questions. I did see some who didn't appear to care a lot or be particularly moved when he was answering. But of course, a lot of people come in with an idea of who they might want to go for, and some are willing to be open and some are not. And we experienced quite a bit of that in this tribal. Sarah literally not even giving any player the time of day and just basically saying, not Blue, aka not Kelsey and not Jordan, basically announcing she's giving her vote to Kyle and that is it. And Michael doing the opposite, saying he's not giving his vote to Kyle, he's giving it to a Blue. But okay, I lost my train of thought because we were talking about Jordan. And
yeah. Well, I see like Jordan as the underdog. I see Kelsey as the social player, and then I see Kyle the strategic player. And you wouldn't think, but he set himself up perfectly in the beginning. He had Sarah, who was a big threat, Bennett, who was a big threat around him, and he was making the moves behind the scene. And I don't think many people during the game realized that he was a strategic player.
Absolutely.
So it's a hard call. It's really going to come down to what what the jury respects in the game of Survivor.
Absolutely, and it does always seem to. But yeah, I mean, I just like still can't get over how eloquent they all were. Like these answers, I was just these like phrases. I mean, you guys and the viewers were like quoting them as they went. I just really, really was impressed with like the quality of almost all of the answers. The way that they almost seemingly had like instant answers in these like incredible phrases to just toss out there. And
I think Kyle made me like tear when Kyle was talking about how he's a quiet, shy guy. Yes. I was like, I wanted to cry because it's like you could be any type of person if you're yourself in these games. Like, go for it, try it, put yourself out of your comfort zone. You don't need to be like the super outgoing alpha player. Like, you can be any type of person and still do well in a social strategy game. And that question, like when he answered that question, I thought that was a perfect answer.
I thought so too. And I think he was probably the only, maybe not the only one of the three, but he just really had a sense of like what that question should be, and answered it really well. I think maybe there were a couple times where some of the other players didn't quite answer the question, or maybe didn't quite like understand the assignment. I think with Bobby's question in particular, maybe because it was two parts and it's, was like one part too many. A lot of players talked about what kind of a threat they were in the game and not what kind of a threat they were coming into the game, which I think was more his phrase. But yeah, I don't know. I'm so excited. I mean,
I did like how Kelsey, I said good thing about Jordan and Kyle. I feel like Kelsey will get votes based on the amount of work she put in.
Yeah.
She had such a strong social game that even before the merge and the shuffle, she had somebody playing idle on her. She would have most likely went out that round. So she definitely worked the social strategy part of the game. And she wasn't in the best position in merge either.
No,
so
she wasn't. And she made that very clear. In many tribal councils, we heard from Kelsey, I think it's me. I think it could be me. I am concerned that I'm on the bottom. And whether or not that was true, it kind of varied tribal by tribal. But she definitely like played down just how much she knew based on her social connections. Still kind of pretending like perhaps she was not in this, well set up position. But I thought she really did a great job taking ownership of her game and it's what perception is everything on Survivor. And so it's one thing to sit there during a game and kind of be like, oh no, I'm worried. Like, woe is me, whatever will happen. But if, and I'm really proud of her for taking the time here to be like, no, I was in the know. I was making these social bonds. I was using this information to my complete benefit. She talked about information being the most important part of the game, which of course is usually always true. And so it was really cool to see her just be like, listen, I kind of used everything that y'all gave me to my absolute benefit, and I used that information. She was talking about how she used that information to then turn around and form other bonds. So one bond became two, and then maybe two bonds grouped into four, and so on. Speaking of kind of using things, I found it interesting that Kyle made a lot of references to, like using players. Like he described them as chess pieces, and he was using them to get to the end. He described them as sticks that he was using to build a dam. So, I know sometimes that it can be a really good analogy, but sometimes it can be a little bit offensive as well. Let's see who's voting right now. That was Daniel.
Dan's voting. Oh,
Okay,
so
we
still have time.
Yeah, we still have time.
So what I think stands out with Kyle's game is using that Daniel vote to get Bennett to flush his idol. That's like a huge strategic move.
Yeah.
Because Bennett was a force in this game. I was so impressed. Bennett and Bobby were standouts for me, and Nina. Those three, game wise, holy cow. But the fact that Kyle recognized that Bennett couldn't have that protection in going into Final Five and got him out right before the end, or right before, because he could have definitely won challenges because he was a physical threat as well. So
absolutely,
Kyle had a lot of game awareness and was able to have social capital to really pull off these moves on people.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's one thing to be like, wow, wouldn't it be great if Bennett flushed his idol? It's another to literally be the reason that he did, because the trust built there was so strong that Bennett literally, hinged his idol play on Kyle's signal to him. So, really strong and different gameplay from all three very unique stories, which is really great. Also, I loved what Kelsey said about how, it would be so tempting to take these relationships and connections that you have outside of a game and be like, oh great, my best friend, let's play patty cake and like skip to the end of the game together. Like it takes like a special person to be like, I don't want that. Like that's not as impressive, or that's not as, great of a game move. Let me take the hard path in that regard. I know she talked about how she had an say that it was always true. She definitely had, thrown under the bus in a big way by Daniel, and had to really navigate that. So she had a lot of landmines that she had to maneuver around as well. And I was going to say something else, and I already lost my train of thought.
Yeah, there's a lot to think of. We don't have sleep for how long now, right? Hardly slept. I think we slept less than probably the players, but
literally.
I was just thinking with Jordan, like it seemed like a lot of people felt really good about Jordan as they left the game. Like Nina brought up that she really appreciated him hugging her, and is that going to have a factor here? Like are people looking at gameplay? Are they looking at how people made them feel? What's more important? Or is it going to be a combination of the both? That's why I really don't know who's gonna win.
Yeah, absolutely. And Michael spoke as well about Jordan really just being super loyal and having his back, and how much it meant to him. Again, these jury members are all very different. They had different experiences, formed different connections, and value totally different things. So thankfully they have three really different options to select from. Something for everyone in the final tribal council this year. What else? Let's see. Really, okay, we're going to circle back like 30 minutes ago, it feels like, when I was talking about Jordan and the tree strategy, because I forgot I wanted to say something else about that. So, all of production would kind of notice as they were filming confessionals and or just kind of glancing over, like we would see Jordan just standing there and being like, oh my God, he's literally just there. No one is talking to him. Oh my God. And us, you know, and of course, like perception is reality. So we're sitting here thinking like, oh God, he's just being like dragged along in this game. Like no, you know, no social currency of his own, like no, you know, moves. And so it was really cool to hear him be like, no, he kind of had like this throw it to the wall and see what sticks strategy. He talked about flailing for a while. He talked about radical honesty for a while, and none of that seemed to be working. And so he was like, let me chill. Let me be like the person you can count on to grab in the last few seconds to pull off a move. And it was so cool to hear him talk about how, you know, trust was built from that, how it incrementally, you know, went up as far as, you know, first, you know, you heard it. I'm not going to re-say it. Sorry.
Self-awareness is huge, and I really appreciate that Jordan had that.
Yeah,
that he
absolutely.
knew exactly what was happening and what type of game he was playing and owned it and said, this is why I played like this.
Yeah.
Do we have more? Who's next?
No,
Hold
I
on,
think
let's
Cam is out here now counting the votes, so I think we can probably head back.
Nice seeing live. Oh, we have 59 people. That's
Yeah,
good.
we've had 60 viewers like steadily watching the
Wow.
whole time, very invested. Yeah, it's been
I'm
cool.
gonna take these chairs.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we are heading on back. There you have it. I feel like there was one other thing I wanted to say about Kelsey. It was like some really cool like phrase she said, and I can't. I'm like literally scrolling on the live feed to try and find it, but y'all were so interactive, so I don't know if I will. Let's see. I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna find it, but anyway. Shout out to her for her super eloquence, because she was very, very well spoken. Okay. Oh yeah. That. All right. Well, behind us we are tallying the votes up, and we will return. Oh yeah, that one. Javin, yes, that's the one that I was thinking about, the treading water and before swimming. That was cool. Okay, so we are filing back in a reverse.
Brandon, come watch.
In a reverse from most things, I am now following Cam in from the voting area. Votes have all been cast, and a winner will be named shortly. Where do I want it?
Okay, before we get to the votes, I want to congratulate the cast on an amazing season. Thank you all for putting everything you had into it. I want to give a special thanks to all the tribe handlers and volunteers that we had here. They worked their butts off this weekend. One of the last season's contestants, so if you had a great time and want to help next year, that would be great. I also want to give a shout out to the production team, and most importantly to Alicia on the live stream the whole weekend. Yeah.
Thanks, y'all.
And most importantly to Brandon for doing everything. He and all of you helped raise an amazing $20,000 for charity. But more importantly than all that, let's find out who won. So again, you want to see your name on these parchments. I'll now read the votes. First vote, Kyle. Second vote, Kelsey. Third vote, Jordan. It's one vote each. Kelsey, that's two. Kyle. That's two. Kyle, that's three. Kelsey, that's three. 3, 3, 1. Kyle. The winner of Can You Survive 2022. Yes, Kyle!
from his jury. All right. And Kyle, the winner of season 2022.
Oh, okay.
Angela. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Hugs all around.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right. Congratulations to everyone who played. What an incredible season. What an incredible winner. Kyle, moments ago, being named the winner of Can You Survive charity event 2022. We would like to thank our two sponsors for this season, ptouchdirect.com for all of your labeling needs, as well as an anonymous benefactor. For those of you that absolutely loved this experience or would like your chance at playing, we will be back for Can You Survive 2023. We will definitely be doing a blood versus water season, and we are contemplating actually doing 2 seasons next year instead of just 1. So applications will drop on November 1st for anyone who is interested. And if you would like to be reminded of that, feel free to send us a message. And when applications drop, we will send you that as well. Thank you so much to everyone, all of the viewers, for tuning in and for cheering on your loved ones, your friends, or your total strangers that became people that you rooted for. I've had so much fun on the live stream with all of you. Thank you for tuning in. And again, I mean, I'm just blown away. What an incredible end to a really amazing week. I mean, testament to literally all of the players, such gamers, and just really going hard this whole time. I'm so proud. I'm like gonna cry. And again, what a worthy final tribal 3. I'm so glad all of them got votes. All deserving, all would have been a very, very worthy winner. So congratulations to Jordan and Kelsey for an incredible game and final tribal, and an extra special congratulations to Kyle for winning it all. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll just, we will show you a little bit more of the reunion, and we will sign out soon. Thank you so much for all the love. I do it for all of you so that all of you can follow along on your loved ones and friends' great adventures. And so all of you survivor nerds like me and everyone else here can get a super interactive and special experience as well. So thank you all. And we are signing off. We will see you in 2023. But don't forget, you can relive all the action and make it make more sense with the episodes that will be dropping. So a lot of love to you all, and thank you.